Honestly, what would it take to get it done? I've seen a lot of people talk about they wouldn't trade any collection, any amount of minor leaguers for Shohei Ohtani. And theoretically, I understand. You wouldn't want to give up too much of the future for a guy who could turn around and use your city as a rental property. So some things would have to be in place here. In order to make a trade for Shohei Ohtani, the San Francisco Giants would have to truly believe two things. Two things first and foremost. Number one, do you believe that trading for Shohei Ohtani would mean you are directly threatening for a pennant? Because nothing's guaranteed. Look at the amount of money that the Yankees and the Mets have spent on their baseball teams this year. And you got, the Yankees, I believe, are in sole possession of last place right now. The Mets are one of the more underachieving, highest paid teams in the history of the game of baseball. So there's no amount of this move equals it's automatically going to work available to you in baseball history. But do you believe that the Giants could threaten for a pennant if they added a home run leader and a Cy Young Award winner? I do. I do. So you check the first box of, yeah, you could maybe win a World Series as you are built with Shohei Ohtani. And finally, do you believe that San Francisco has a real chance to become his forever home? We're going to talk about Shohei like he's a pet up for adoption. Do you believe that that guy could find his forever home in San Francisco? I do. I think the Giants could make a very good case. So you got to believe that both of those things are in play. And if they are, what trade offer would you make? I saw that Zach Reiner from Bleacher Report says that the Giants give up, and this would hurt, like the Giants would be giving up the 14th, 67th, and 70th overall prospects in the top 100 prospects. 3 top 100 prospects is an awful lot. And beyond that, we're talking about the 1, 2, and 4th, the first, second, and 4th prospects in the Giants minor league system for a 2-month rental of Shohei Ohtani. That feels like an awful lot to ask. Those guys are left-handed pitcher Kyle Harrison, shortstop Marco Luciano, and then left-handed pitcher Carson Whisenhunt. You wouldn't want to give those guys up, but let's be as excited as you are about maybe all 3 of those guys. Let's talk about what all 3 of those guys are. All 3 of them are maybes. They're positive maybes. There's maybes with a good chance of becoming a yes associated with them, but they're all maybes. They're all maybes. Shohei Ohtani is no maybe. As a matter of fact, when you try to find the percentile of what player percentile Shohei Ohtani is in, he's basically in that inner ring of the most sacred Hall of Famers that have ever played the sport of baseball. And if we're being completely honest, he's better than all of them. So there's every single player that is, suppose you could fit the list of everyone who's ever played Major League Baseball in between my 2 fingers right here. This is everyone who has ever played Major League Baseball. This is Shohei Ohtani. He is above all of them. There is no maybe. There is no questioning. There is no wondering what you get if you get Shohei Ohtani. You trade 3 maybes for the man who is definitely the single greatest baseball player of all time. Like, I do that deal. I do that deal. I do that deal. You tell me I'm crazy. I think Jim Bowden suggested it's Whisenhunt, Harrison, Luciano, and then you might have to throw in Matos and Grant McCray, who is another big, a highly touted prospect. Maybe even Mike Yastrzemski needs to be thrown into the deal. Maybe a Jock Peterson. Like, that left people screaming when they read that. Are you all crazy? All of those guys might be actual major leaguers. The guy that you'd be trading for is the greatest major leaguer of all time, including Willie Mays, including Barry Bonds. What are we talking about? Well, you only might have 2 months of Ohtani. Okay, and at the end of that 2 months, you might be a World Series champion. You might be a World Series champion. I really mean it. Think about it. It feels like it's time to take a bunch of maybes and flip them for the best of all time. Just listen to the Giants lineup. Just listen to the Giants lineup if you put Shohei Ohtani in it, okay? Just listen to this. Any and all minor leaguers ever are just all of them. They're all maybes. What you have is definitely the greatest player in the game today in Shohei Ohtani. So you'd have at first base leading off Lamont Wade Jr., Then you got Thairo Estrada playing second. Then you'd have Ohtani as your DH hitting third, followed by J.D. Davis, then Jock Peterson, Patrick Bailey. With the shortstop of Schmidt and Crawford platoon, you'd get Yaz out in right field and Matos in center field. By the way, that is a lefty-righty, lefty-righty, lefty switch hitter, righty-lefty, righty-lefty combo, righty. So you get to play all the matchup baseball that you could possibly dream about. And oh, by the way, do you realize who your bench is then? Then all of a sudden, you got all of those guys in your starting lineup, and your bench is Blake Sable, Michael Conforto, Mitch Haniger, Austin Slater, Flores, and Brett Wisely. That team could win a World Series. That team could win a World Series because here's who your starting rotation is now. Your starting rotation is Logan Webb, Shohei Ohtani, Alex Cobb, Alex Wood, Anthony DeSclafani, and then your sixth man, whatever, if you need that. You got your Keaton Wynn, Ross Stripling, Sean Manaea bullpen games, which you wouldn't see many of in the postseason, obviously. You got the Rogers twins in the bullpen along with the best closer in baseball. You can win a world championship with that. I'll trade you the next 4 years down the road for a World Series today. And since none of it's promised, come on, man. How do you say no to Shohei Ohtani? Now, I don't think the Angels are probably going to trade him. And if they do, let's be honest, there's other teams out there, the Tampa Bay Rays, the Dodgers, maybe even the Mariners, maybe even the Rangers, that could really put together a competitive offer that outcompetes whatever competitive offer the Giants could put on the table. But you got to try. You got to be in that conversation. It's Shohei Ohtani. It's Shohei Ohtani. I mean, there's nothing left to say. Except that thumbnail I used of him today was one of the sexiest things maybe of all time, right?